If our body works well, there's a limit of how wrong our arms can be. It's very easy to fix things thereafter. If our body's incorrect, if we're just not moving well, our arms are going to be all over the place. So it's going to be impossible to position our arms in where we want if the root cause is down to a body moving incorrectly. Hi everyone, Murdoch here, hope you're well. Now for those of you that aren't familiar with my turn drill, I do speak of this a lot and I build the whole swing around this turn drill. It's something you can do at home. Something that I recommend you do on the first tee if you're not a practicer as you warm up. So here's the turn drill. Now it's designed to have you understand your body and limitations. So you do it with no club. You stand as if you're holding a 3-wood or driver. So go shoulder width with your feet. And with no distraction in your hands, so I've got no club, I can see my width of stance. I can also see my feet placement, which is important. Now, if you're a right-handed golfer, as you make a backswing, you create a load point in your right side that you turn into, that you create your load into. And that happens, I believe, and it happens for most people, on the inside of that right foot. So it's important that you position your right foot inwards if you find that you're naturally walking a little bit this way. That's important because what we don't want in the backswing is any lateral movement or the weight to move to the outside of the right foot, which is easy to do if you place your foot in this position, I believe. So if we're looking at a clock face right here, and on the ground in front of me is 12, this is 3, behind me 6, 9 o'clock there. I want you to position your right foot not at 12 o'clock, but between the 12 and the 1. Left foot slightly turned out's good, because remember in the through swing, as we get older, it's harder to turn. So a foot slightly turned out really encourages that hip rotation, which is what we want through the ball. So slightly turned out with the left. Now, once you've established that, imagine that you're standing in wet cement. I don't want deep heels. I don't want the weight to roll to where the toes are deep into the cement either. It's about even. Except what we do now with the hips is a little slide down your target line. Imagine they're on rails, all right? So there's our feet and our knees on our target line. So imagine they're just sliding ever so slightly, not even an inch, to where you're looking at yourself where I've staged my camera. So there'll be a mirror or a window here. You're looking at yourself at home and your right hip and right knee is just inside the instep to allow for the right hand lower on the club and that spine tilt ever so slightly away from the target. Notice that? This is an exaggeration. It's ever so slightly. Remember, we've got our stance width for a 3-wood or a driver. So you can kind of picture the ball position slightly ahead of middle, just inside the left heel, in fact, for most. And you can kind of gauge where your body would be. 90 or so percent, 85, 90% behind where the ball would be from that little move. It creates the load point favoring the inside of that right foot with 50% of the weight there and 50% on the wide bit of your left foot. So that's the setup. That's where we want to be. Again, no club as a distraction. We're preparing our body and understanding the setup fundamentals as they pertain to the body and then the strains the body's under when we do our turn in a moment. So there's the setup. So down the line it will look something like this. So when you stage a camera here or a window reflection or a mirror to where you look at yourself, we don't want to be on our toes. We don't want to be comfortable this way where we're back on our heels protecting our stiff or sore back. This is the drill that you do to question your capabilities. So we don't want to be supporting any weight on our thighs. We're tall. Balls of feet, kneecaps, back of the shoulders here, all stacked up. Pull the shoulder blades back. Here we are. Everyone's setting up this way. So you can kind of look at a professional golfer on the seniors tour, your age bracket, if you like. And you can work with that posture, you know, to help yourselves. We're not going to be bulletproof, angled perfectly. like a 25-year-old on tour. All right, so we put things in perspective, but these are the guidelines. So back to front on. Once we've established this setup positioning of weight in our feet, the little spine tilt, touching the top of your knees in this position works for most. Just the top, not cupping your knees, just the very top gives you a position of where a 6-iron would be in terms of spine tilt. Remember, the shorter the club, the more bent forward you'd be. The taller you are, it adapts for the wood. So obviously a 3-wood and driver we're standing taller, pitching wedge more bent forward. But you'll notice that spine angle and club shaft form a 90 degree. So that's something to look at if you're filming yourself or looking at yourself once you hold a club. So in this position, front on, place your hands on your shoulders now. Keep your eyes fixed on a point on the ground. Think of a low ceiling, helps a lot, because I want you to start putting your mind into the position of thought of what the spine is doing. Remember, we're bent forward. The ball's on the ground, so we've created an angle to hit it here. So now we're going to feel like turning. Our mind's got to start being in the same place there. We've got to think about what we're doing here. Without the distraction of a club, we're going to do a turn, and you'll be aware of the right knee and instep here as you turn your right hip. Keep the feeling of the left shoulder going down, right hip turning. There you are. Pressure immediately will build on your right knee and instep. This is the load point I spoke of earlier. We're turning into it, creating our wind of power. Now, relative to the club you're using, the length of shaft will determine how far around you can go, because everyone's top of the backswing will be different. But doing this drill with no club, you should feel the restrictions coming to a point where you can't go any further as your left shoulder approaches your chin. You'll feel a strain in your lower back, pressure on the right knee and instep, and you turn that hip. We haven't slid it. That's important. Left shoulder down, right hip turns. That's your observation feeling. The discomfort is the other. That discomfort is a load, or just rest if you feel like you need a little bit of flexibility checking. Have a little stretch, because this discomfort is the discomfort of a good golf move. So we don't want to encourage ourselves to run away from that in fear. We want to embrace it. There's an element of discomfort in the load, and then on the through swing, left hip. As you stay behind where the ball would be, where you're looking, no moving in, you're turning left hip out the way. This is where it gets really uncomfortable, and I want you to hold it. Stretching in your lower back, right up your left side. As you clear the hip, feel that there's an angle created in your left leg, best you can. So we don't want to go laterally. This is so common as we get older. So when you're making this move, the things to be aware of, the feelings that you're going to build the swing around, are the angles that you've created in the address, and now you're aware of as you make the turn. So looking down at the ground, imagine the low ceiling. That avoids the leaning up, the standing up. Keep your eyes down. You'll feel the left shoulder go under as your right hip turns behind you. Loading into the inside of that right foot. Your right hip's turning. Your spine angle at address has made it possible for you to turn behind the ball. Then on the way through, eyes stay down, right shoulder under as you turn the left. Hold it here. Feel and appreciate your capabilities, particularly in the lower back. It's going to feel uncomfortable and very stretch-like up the left side. The more range of motion we can get in our hips here as we stay in our angles, the better we're going to strike it, and the more consistently we'll return the club down that path for direct hits, starting and finishing on our target. So it's so important. That's the turn drill. If our body works well, there's a limit of how wrong our arms can be. It's very easy to fix things thereafter. If our body's incorrect, if we're just not moving well, our arms are going to be all over the place. So it's going to be impossible to position our arms in a in where we want if the root cause is down to a body moving incorrectly. So that's the turn drill. Please take your time to absorb this and try a few exercises yourself, using a mirror to help you. Film if necessary, and then you can see how your swing structure, the process, can be built around that. So do this every day. Do this every day so you understand your capabilities, the stiff areas, overcoming an injury, and you can build a swing around that. It requires no practice, no ball hitting, but then subconsciously it builds into your swing and you're aware mentally of this drill as it becomes part of your swing. So there it is. Like and subscribe. Any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching. See you soon.